Welcome to Farm to Family Cooking Series. My name is Gil Rodriguez. I'm a chef instructor at Skagit Valley College. Welcome to Farm to Family Cooking. Today we're going to make a spaghetti with summer vegetables. We have, for our summer vegetables, we're going to use this summer squash from Nelida Farms and this beautiful snap peas. We have some tomatoes, some garlic, some onions, and some red kale from Well Fed Farms. The first thing that we're going to do is start the pasta. Always make sure that your water is in a rolling boil, so it should be very aggressive. And make sure that you always salt your water very well. It should be like seawater. So about 3 pinches should be good. I'm going to go with a handful of pasta. We're not going to add any oil to the water, and that way when we make the sauce will actually stick to the pasta. Many people add oil to the pasta water, and then what will happen is that the sauce, whatever sauce you're going to put on it, it won't stick to your pasta. It will just slip right off. The first thing that we're going to do today is I'm going to slice a half an onion and slice some garlic. I like my garlic sliced, especially for this pasta dish. We want it a little bit of rustic. And then we'll process all these vegetables. We'll get them going with some olive oil in the pan, and then we'll bring the pasta over and finish the dish. Okay. So, first things is get this onion. It doesn't have to be a specific width. It's up to you. Know that the thicker that it is, the longer it'll take to cook, and the thinner it is, the quicker it will cook. But the main idea is that you want all your vegetables to be the same thickness. If we have all the vegetables the same thickness, then we should have a fairly even cooking. So we'll take the onion and I will cut it with the ribs. That will help you not cry. And we'll put this guys to the side. And then we'll take our garlic. And the garlic I'm going to cut a little bit thinner just because it's a little unappetizing to have really thick slices of garlic, but everything else will be just about the same width. We'll just go over this garlic, like so. You guys smell good. And we have the garlic and the onions done. Now, I'm going to turn my other pan onto medium-low heat, and I'm going to add some oil. About 3 to 4 tablespoons. The olive oil is going to be our sauce, so it's okay to have a little bit more than what you think in there. And the oil should be covering the bottom of the pan completely. Okay? And then we're going to add our onions in here, and we're going to cook those slowly. And as that's happening, we're going to check on our pasta. And the pasta should take about 8 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, depending on what pasta. If you have angel hair or capellini, it might take 6 minutes, but for this thick spaghetti, it'll be about 8 minutes. And while that's happening, we have summer squash and zucchini. And one thing that a lot of people don't do with summer squash is take the seeds off. You should use, and when you're working with squash, regardless if it's summer squash or winter squash being butternut, pumpkin, any of those, you would usually seed them. So we need to do the same thing with the summer squash. And what I like to do is cut them in half long ways, like so. And then I take a spoon and I take all the seeds off of it. This will prevent your zucchini and your yellow squash from becoming mushy in the pan. Most people that don't like zucchini or yellow squash don't like it because it's a vegetable that turns mushy when you cook it. Now, if you eliminate the mushy part, then you'll end up with a delicious vegetable. Okay, so we'll do that real quick. Do the same with the yellow squash. just like so. And you should end up with something that looks like so. Okay, we'll move this out of the way. Check on my onions, give them a little stir there. You want them to start getting brown, not black, but they're gonna start caramelizing quite a bit. So, and then that's, once they start getting translucent and soft, it's when we know that the other vegetables need to be added. Okay, moving this out of the way. And now that we have our zucchini and our squash ready, we can put them side by side and slice them about the same thickness as we did the onions. We should end up with half moons like so. All right. Once we have the squash ready to go, we can just introduce it to the pan. And this will continue cooking slowly for another couple of minutes. All right, at this point, we just have some snap peas here. You can definitely leave them whole, or you can just cut them in half. I like cutting them in half long ways, just so I can open them. Sometimes the peas fall off, and it'll make them be all over the dish as the peas are getting cut open. It should look like that. Peas will come into the pan. Don't leave these little guys. Those are the ones that are delicious. Okay? And here's the first addition of salt to the dish. We're gonna try to continue seasoning throughout the cooking process. So just gonna salt it, maybe a little bit more, and move it around. And remember, with salt, you can always add more salt, but you can never take it out. So after you move it around, taste it. That's the only way to know. Like, there's no recipe that can tell you how much salt to go in there. All vegetables are different. The sweetness is going to be different. So after you move it around and just let it stick to your vegetables, just grab one squash or a piece of onion and try it. I think we're good. Okay, so now we have our vegetables in there. We gotta clean the kale. We're gonna check on the pasta, and then we'll add the tomatoes and the garlic. We'll add a little bit more oil, and we'll finish this pasta. And we're more than halfway there. Okay, our pasta's looking like it's almost there. All right, when you're looking at the pasta, if you snap a little piece of one of the noodles and you see white in the center, if there's white in the center, it's not ready. If it's yellow, then it's hydrated all the way through, and that's what we're looking for. Okay. The next thing that we have to do here is we have some red kale from Well-Fed Farms, and just like we did in our previous videos with kale, we're just going to pull back and leave that stem behind as much as we can. Sometimes they're a little stubborn, and you got to kind of pick through them. And we're going to get rid of the stem. The stem is a little too fibrous for us. And then we're going to grab this and just make it into a big bunch, and then slice the same width as you did the onion and the zucchini. And the kale is ready to go. Kale comes into the pan. One more addition of salt. We'll mix it one more time. And as soon as you see that the kale starts turning color, it's going to tend to get a little shiny because of all the oil in there. That means that it's time for our soft vegetables and our delicate vegetables, which is going to be our tomatoes. And the tomatoes are going to provide some water, and they're going to start breaking apart, and they're going to somewhat make it a little bit of a sauce for us. And then we'll take our garlic, and notice it's a lot of garlic, about 4 cloves of garlic. And we're going to continue cooking it slowly with all the vegetables until the tomatoes start breaking apart and we can smell the garlic. The garlic should not be brown, but it should be aromatic. Okay? I'm looking at my pan, and my pan looks a little dry, so I'm going to add a bit more oil. Like I said, the oil is going to be our sauce here. We want something nice and light. So I'm going to make sure that I can see some oil in the bottom of the pan. That's going to be key. Some of the vegetables will absorb some of the oil, so that will tend to dry your pan, especially the zucchini. Okay, and now that we have all our veggies ready, we're just going to cook this. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. You don't want to cook it on high because we'll have the tendency to burn the garlic, and we don't want to do that. But we just want to make sure that the onions are soft, our zucchini is still somewhat crisp, our peas are crisp, but our tomatoes are breaking apart and our garlic is aromatic. That's kind of what we're looking for. Okay, we're going to look over here at our pasta. It's looking really good. Sometimes when you cook thin pasta like capellini, you can't tell by just looking at it. So the key is just to try it. Yep, it's al dente, which means it just has a little bit of bite to it. Not too much. Our garlic is smelling really good over here. Now, we're gonna keep the pans together. We'll grab the pasta from one pan and we'll bring it right on top of the vegetables. And don't worry about the water. We want some water to come over. Pasta water is always a big thing when you're creating sauces for pasta, because it has all the starch from the pasta, which it makes any sauce stick to the pasta. So after you bring it over, mix it around, and if you don't see that your veggies are getting quite stuck to the pasta, then just go ahead and add a little bit more pasta water. You can do this with marinara, cream sauce, any other sauces. You always want a little bit of that water to come over to the pan. Okay? We're gonna season it with salt one more time. A bit of pepper. Notice that I did not put the pepper in here until the very end because we don't want to burn the pepper. Pepper tends to burn when we cook it for a long period of time. If you like something a little bit spicy, you can add some red chili flakes or any cayenne pepper, something like that will go well in here. Okay, and then we're pretty much there now. Bring the plate over, turn this off. All right, our dish is pretty much there. I'm gonna grab some of my pasta. You'll notice when you mix this that all the vegetables will stay in the bottom and all the pasta will be on the top. Okay, so I tend to grab some of my pasta, put it on the plate, nice and neat, and then I come to the other side of the pan and grab some of these beautiful vegetables and put them right on the top, just like so. Okay, to finish this off, we'll clean that up real quick. We'll go like that. I have some fresh basil here. I really like basil. I feel like just the warmth of the pasta and the vegetables is enough for the basil. We don't actually have to put it in the pan. And I just tear it with my hands. And when you tear it, some of the aroma and the oils will start coming out. And that's what's gonna make it really, really tasty. All right, and we have spaghetti with summer vegetables.